But here's the problem. We don't have enough people that understand this problem. We don't have enough skilled people to fill the gap. This is a problem, a major problem in the US. And so what we're seeing in our region alone, we're talking about 0% unemployment at a time where unemployment in the US is double what it usually is, at a time when unemployment in other countries in Europe are facing severe issues. In the United States, in the Northwest, we have 0% unemployment in cybersecurity information assurance. Lots of jobs that aren't being filled. I'll go through this really quickly. Here's just a list of some of the companies. Starbucks, Amazon, if you recognize the symbol. A lot of really interesting places to work. So how have we been growing these people in the past? Well, primarily OJT. In other words, you meet somebody like a Kirk Bailey, who's a guru in cybersecurity. He's now our CISO. And you beg to go to work for him, and you follow him around. I've had students email me from India in the summer before they've taken classes with me in the fall and beg to come to work for me. I didn't have jobs in this one case, and the boy simply begged me, just let me show up, let me hang around you, because this is typically how people learned the field. Because the textbooks are out of date the minute they're printed, what you really want to see is how the field is administered close up. That's how people learn. Or their certifications. How many of you have heard of the CISSP? Everybody? Certificate? A couple of you. This is the certification issued by an independent body that is most desired by employers. But there are others. And so that's another way to gain credentials and learn. There's very little that's happened at the education level. One of the reasons is there's very little faculty trained in this discipline. There's been little research funding, and this is what drives faculty. We're expected to produce research and publications, and if there's no research funding, faculty won't be attracted to a field. So there have been few university programs around the world and in the United States. So it makes it very difficult to really learn in a setting like this particular field. But I have good news for you. This is why Alan is saying he's excited about our collaboration. Because working with Kirsten Ferguson-Boucher, who did her master's thesis in this area, we've been able to put together a course here at Aberystwyth that's been adapted to the UK and to the European perspectives that's being offered to you. I don't know how many courses are like this in Europe. I don't think very many. So we have a course, we're going to have more. And this is what's motivating my involvement with Aberystwyth as a fellow. I'm very excited to be here because I see a place where you folks can become leaders in this space as more and more employers begin to recognize that records management and information assurance go hand in hand. So again, this certainly was not a scalable process, OJT, was it? And so this is what the federal government did, and this explains the center that I run. They created this program about the late 1990s to stimulate. Sometimes policy works. Sometimes policy is well-intended and misguided. This is an example of policy that really worked because there was some very bright person in the executive branch in the White House that recognized we had a cybersecurity problem. He got it. In fact, he went on a hunt for the internet and people laughed at him. They said, wait a minute, you can't see the internet. It's visible. It's invisible. It's over wires. No, 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 no. The internet physically exists somewhere. Where are the servers? Where are the people that are maintaining the servers? Let's look at that. Let's look at the potential vulnerabilities. And through that survey, he ended up making some unbelievable discoveries. Like the internet going out of the city of Seattle, which is the primary connection of the US to Australia, and the main connection of the mainland up to Alaska is at the top floor of an 18-story building, a high-rise, that sits on a fault in the middle of downtown with glassed-in windows where you can look in and see all the racks of servers. Hello? and an internet website that explains the security procedures for the building, when the security guards are going to be there and when they aren't, and how you can get a key off hours. How convenient. So he sounded the alarm and he said, wait a minute, we have a literacy, maybe we'd call it an illiteracy problem in information assurance. So we saw the instantiation of a goal to create these centers of academic excellence. This program was launched with a presidential directive because sometimes Congress is a little slow in moving. And it created centers of excellence, scholarships, high school programs, and training standards. These training standards persist. And it's these training standards that are the backbone of the courses I teach at the University of Washington, and they inform the courses that are being offered here at Aberystwyth. So since the instantiation of this program, the first scholarship students graduated in 2002. These are U.S. citizens. And there have been more than 1,400 scholarship students since. So we've had a pretty successful program. We've had about 150, 160 centers around the country, most of them in the Beltway. And now we have just a couple in the Northwest. These are outliers here in Idaho. It's mostly the University of Washington and a little community college up on the border. But our center umbrellas, two very interesting places. Nice places to come. Hawaii, because my mother never raised any dumb kids, and Aberystwyth in Wales. Okay? There's some similarities. Seaside. Last year you had palm trees, right?
Yes, they died.
They died. Lots of wind, although different temperatures.